Loading. Hi guys, my name's Jen George and I am from Tammy and like-minded bitches and everything else. I'm not even sure where to begin with that one, but today I am here with the amazing founders of Gathar. So who the hell are you?
Hi Jen, I'm Jody.
And I'm Nicky.
And yeah, we're the co-founders of Gathar, a foodies marketplace.
Awesome. And how did you guys get started?
So I guess we've known each other for a few years. We are both based here in Cairns in hot tropical North Queensland, currently going through a heat wave. So my background is events and marketing. And so for 13 years, in different roles in marketing and events in Queensland and in Sydney and sort of globally. And Nicky's background is very much tech and foodie.
Yeah, so I started a website development company back in 2000 when the internet was all shiny and brand new. And we've been making online software since the world began, pretty much. But in my spare time, my passion is being a crazy foodie. So I'm the annoying person that usually tells you what ingredients you can find where, and I really, really love to cook. So in a way, it was a beautiful meet because Jody is great at entertaining, but doesn't like all the hard work that comes along with it. And I just love to do all that hard work. So
yeah, kind of both sides of our marketplace.
Yeah, we are the marketplace.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I had this idea of studying entrepreneurship, but I guess it's a pretty simple idea and probably something that many have had before. And Nicky and her partner Kai had the same idea a few years ago. So when I came to them with this concept and said, I would love you guys to be on board, like the top of my list on co-founders, they were like, well, funny that you mentioned that because it's something that we've been thinking about for a while, and they're really involved in Airbnb and kind of know the sharing economy really well. So it was just a good, serendipitous meeting.
Really good fit. And we had just started building our confidence for food. We had been thinking about what could we do in the food space because we won a cooking competition.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was very high pressure, intense, MasterChef-y kind of thing. But it was a really great experience. So it had definitely launched that thinking of what do we do with this now? Yeah.
Amazing. And so what's your business model? How does it work?
So it's a two-sided marketplace. And on one side, we have our culinarians. So they're people that love to cook, not necessarily just chefs. You can be a chef, but you can be like Nicky and just like to spend your nights and weekends cooking, always thinking about different dishes and love being in the kitchen.
Yep.
So we just say they're passionate cooks and they load up menus. So Nicky's got a menu up there, a Mexican feast, 3-course. She prices it at $80 a head. And then on the other side of the marketplace, we have people like me that love having dinner parties but don't love running around all night and having to do all the hard work and not actually getting to sit down and enjoy it. So I jump on as a host and I pick Nicky's Mexican menu for 8 of my friends. I click on it, book it, and Nicky comes over with all the ingredients, cooks, cleans, does all the hard work, and we sit back and enjoy and also get to know Nicky. I think that's a really cool part of our marketplace. It's really about the community and the connection. And by people coming into your home, it's pretty personal. You get to know them. You get to find out why they love to cook and why they chose this menu and why this dish is important to them, and the kind of backstory behind the ingredients and why they're doing it.
It's a bit like a chef's table experience. So the upper echelon of those 5-star restaurants where you really get to hear the chef's passion and you get to watch them prepare the whole thing all the way through and talk about it. So it's a very intimate experience, but also a very personalized experience and not that different to going out to a restaurant in terms of pricing, especially when you consider you get to drink your own wine at home, and that's pretty much all you have to do all night is be a lovely host.
That's awesome. And so from the moment of having that conversation to then launching an MVP, what did that journey look like?
It was an interesting road, actually. We did a lot of test cooks. Yep. And we also
volunteer. I will volunteer.
Yeah, it was the best part. Damn, we're doing it.
We had no shortage of volunteers. Actually, we even did a really fun cook where we cooked for a group of entrepreneurs on the Great Barrier Reef. And Naomi Tinson was one of the mentors for that entrepreneurial group. So it was an absolutely incredible North Queensland day where we cooked outside. And
it was a tough cook. Nicky cooked like a paella and fish tacos on the middle of an island for these 14 entrepreneurs. And we tried to just keep her shaded.
Yes, but it was a great experience and just showed us how far the platform could go as well. So we did a fair bit of testing and researched to see how the concept would work and where were the issues from both the cook's end and from the host end, and built the MVP around that.
Amazing. So sorry, would you bring your camera?
Oh, it's out of focus. Yes, sorry. Maybe we might have to disconnect it and reconnect it. That might do.
That's how we fixed it before. Hold on.
Yeah, fair enough.
We can also just stay really fuzzy.
Yeah. Sorry, all of a sudden you just went.
That's strange, hey?
Oh, there we go.
Are we good again?
Yeah, we'll just continue as normal.
That's really strange.
So that whole journey, so really from concept to MVP was sort of April to October. So Precedent's our awesome tech partners. They built the platform, and we officially launched the platform in October here in the final, so in Cairns and Port Douglas. And then we went to Brisbane 3 weeks later. So we jumped quite quickly to kind of going to a metro area. And now we're sort of 2 months live officially with the platform, and starting to work out those, marketplace liquidity issues that I'm sure all marketplaces deal with.
Yeah.
So what are the sort of things that you look at to understand where your supply and your demand is, and understand the metrics that really drive your marketplace, so your unit economics?
Yeah. I mean, that's our kind of priority at the moment, is trying to get them down. We had a bit of a, easy run in our hometown, which is why we launched here. I think a lot could be said. Some people would say, why would you launch in a small regional area? But for us, we had this great community, really great support from the media. Nicky obviously knew a lot of foodies, so we could easily build the marketplace based on word of mouth and people we knew. And now we're getting to Brisbane where people don't know us, and we're starting to work out, okay, what do we actually need to do to recruit? On the cook side, we find it's really about the community and word of mouth still. So it's really about working with cooking groups and foodies. They're all pretty connected. So once we go out and talk to a few and say, and if you have any friends, they generally will go, okay, yeah, I have 5 people that will want to do this as well. So that side of the marketplace is really about the conversations that we're having and those sort of connections. And then on the other side, it's about building that trust and awareness for these new kids, which we didn't have that issue here in Cairns because people knew us. So they were like, yeah, sure, come into my house and cook for us.
Yeah.
Whereas in Brisbane, like, what do you mean? You're going to come over and make dinner? So there's that first level of awareness and trust, which we're working with, kind of media and general engagement strategies through collaborations. And then it's about the conversion side. So really using our digital marketing channels to really convert them over from engagement to hosts.
Yeah. In our hometown also, we didn't have to court the media. They came to us.
Yeah.
So it was a very, what are you guys doing? We want to focus, we want to take a photo of you and put you in the paper and all sorts of things. So we've had really amazing media coverage. In fact, Jody was a cover girl on a magazine.
No way. Really, I'm staying as a co-founder. It was awful. I didn't realize. You always think like, it looks easy to be a model. It's really hard. And I hate having my photo taken.
She looked amazing.
No, it was really awkward. So I'm really happy, from now on to photos of chefs and cooks and food.
That's our big challenge as we go into the bigger metro spaces, is building up that same level of awareness and trust, and leaning a little bit on our contacts who are already in those industries to start to get the word out there for us.
Fantastic. And then how do you ensure that you guys are remaining scalable, as a tech business, rather than falling into the trap of becoming, a small business, more of an agency style approach, right? So you can launch in, for example, I'm in San Francisco, so launch in San Francisco tomorrow without you two having to hop on a plane. How does that, how are you being?
I think that's the part where we're really lucky that we have precedence. So the other part of this team is Kai, and he is automation expert. Like you can probably talk more to this, but he can see straight away where a system and an automation tech can come in to do what I'm doing manually. And we kind of don't, he knows it so well from both sides.
He's my business partner, and we've built a lot of online software that's had global scale. So from that perspective, we're not really worried about the tech behind the scenes. We're more worried on customer acquisition and getting the word out there, really, which is a good problem to have, I think, that we don't have to worry about the tech backbone behind us.
Yeah, definitely. And so then I guess then what's the next steps? You're 2 months in, obviously very exciting, but how you plan on, the next 6 months, making sure you guys can take that next level of growth?
Yeah. So our focus at the moment is really getting, market share in the regions that we've launched in, and then going out to Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, so either sides of Brisbane. And then March next year, we'll hit Melbourne. So we plan on being in Melbourne, by sort of midway next year, and then Sydney after that. So by the end of next year, we would really like, and we'll check back and hold us to that. To be, to really have scaled to those regions, and we'll learn a whole lot from those metro cities, and probably change quite a lot. We already have in the last 2 months with things like grazing boards, which you would know are really popular, grazing tables.
Yeah.
So we added them straight away to the marketplace because people really wanted it from both sides. So we're really open to, we still know we're in that product market fit stage, growing, and we'll probably, as much as we can have a plan for the next 12 months, we know that there's going to be a lot of unexpected things.
There are funny little issues that come about like that too. Is the grazing tables are sold by the meter, and our platform is sold per person. So we have to make some adjustments to be able to sell grazing platters in the traditional way that they're sold as well. Yeah. But also, every city has its own food culture, and we really need to tap into what is the peculiarity of Melbourne versus Brisbane, and how do we solve some of their dining problems along the way so that we can appeal to those different groups.
That's great. And obviously being such a small team in the beginning, which is great, we've got to stay lean as long as possible. You've obviously got your own vibe, your own culture. Next, stage of then hiring people, how do you think you're going to really emulate that culture?
We started talking about that yesterday, actually, weirdly. It was like one of those conversations where
I was listening, obviously.
But I guess what we want to do, our brand is about fun and food. And anyone that joins the team needs to have that passion. We're about coming to work and having a laugh. And so how do we scale that? I guess it's about trying to find someone that truly gets excited like we do about what we're doing, and trying to keep that, as we grow.
I must say, in our own company, Precedence, we've maintained that same kind of vibe here, in that everybody in our building is obsessed with coffee. So we included in our job description even what kind of coffee that they need to be able to make. And we get the funniest responses. And when we get those good responses, we know this is a good cultural fit, this person. So sometimes it's being quirky at the beginning and making sure that we're true to the brand and talk through what are our expectations and
trying to get as much diversity as possible. Like we talked about that, we don't want to hire people exactly the same as us. We want to get all different mindsets in, because really that's food and culture. Yeah. It's not about just what we like. Yeah.
And that helps us expose us to brand new spaces that we don't understand yet as well. One of the things we're really excited about our platform is being able to tap into the migrants of Australia and the cuisines that we'll never find a restaurant for. So in Brisbane, we connected with a lady from Iran, and she has a whole community of Persian cooks, which I've never been to a Persian restaurant, but I would love to have her over at my place to cook for me. So really reflecting that diversity in our cultural team as well would be great.
That's great. And from that, I guess sorry, you're out of focus again, if you wouldn't mind.
Sorry. Must be the heat. Our camera is melting in Cairns.
Yeah, totally fine. So I was going to ask then, is there any like podcasts or books or networking groups or, what do you rely on? I can see you again. Thank you. That works that you guys look at?
There's a lot.
I'm a crazy podcaster. One of my good mates is a podcaster, and I have it on my grand plan list of things to do to create a Gathar podcast, which talks through the foodies that we have on the marketplace. I'll tell you, my favorite food podcast is called Gastropod. It's such a cool name, and they talk about food through the lens of science and history. So you get a really interesting background about food, and it's they're very well researched, these two ladies. And they recently had Nigella Lawson on, and that's when I went, oh my goodness, could I have a podcast and meet Nigella? It was like a big tick, cool, that'd be great.
I heard her speak in real life.
Yeah, that's the real 12-month name. And Jody, you have that startup podcast that you listen to.
I listen to a lot of them. You probably know them all really well. But I like, Founder to Founder and Jason Calacetis. Have you met him in San Fran?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, I would really like. But the startup community here, and also in Brisbane, where we feel like is a bit of our second home for our startups. So we got our start at a startup weekend at RCL in Brizzy. And the crew there has been super supportive, and just fellow founders. Like, we're just amazed. People like yourself, we reach out to and ask advice for how willing they are to actually share their journey and go, okay, we're 12 months ahead. This is what you're going to come up against. I can connect you with this person. So we're really surprised it hasn't hindered us at all being stuck in the tropics, in terms of being able to get that support from Yeah.
Jen, are we fuzzy again?
Yep. So I was just waiting to finish your sentences. It's totally fine. It adds an extra bit of flavor to the interview, you know.
Like a fade in, fade out.
Have you ever seen it before? I don't even know how to diagnose it.
I've never seen this before because at first I thought it was your you were just using your computer, but then I realized you had a mic and which is fine. Like
yeah, look, it looks like a butt plug.
Oh.
I'm not editing that out, just so you know. We're going to leave this one raw and uncut specifically because of that. So are there any other I guess communities? I mean, being in North Queensland, I mean, obviously coming to Brisbane, there's fish burners and things like that. Do you get involved in those sorts of spaces? Great.
Yeah. And we try to just jump into as many things as possible. We went down to StartCon, went in that pitch comp. I'm going to Startup Grind in Melbourne on Tuesday. So really we're seeing the fact that we need to scale nationally as an opportunity to get into all these new cities and meet everyone in these ecosystems. And everyone's been super supportive. The amount of founders that have helped us so far, just giving us great advice or, kind of let us know about different groups that we can tap into. That's been super awesome. Yeah.
I've had some cool ones in Brizzy, like Wandering Cooks. There's this really cool little co-cooking space, and they have lots of small food businesses and a commercial kitchen there. And they've been amazingly supportive. Quite a lot of their cooks have come on board. And we've had some really good chats with Le Cordon Bleu, the French cooking school. Nice. So they're another, we'd really love to have their students on board and cooking with us. And they get...
have you heard of Cook It Too as well?
Yeah, I came across that recently, actually. Yeah, do you know about that?
Yeah, she's actually here in San Francisco, so you can rent out commercial so Airbnb for commercial kitchens, so which is really cool. So they've got a really interesting network of the type of people that use them. So I can connect you guys after.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we do have an interesting little space in food licensing in that in Queensland we don't need a license to cook in someone else's home, but in other spaces we may need to lean on a commercial kitchen to be able to explain the platform. So that is something we'd really love to connect with.
Awesome. Too easy.
Thank you.
So the question I always ask is, if you had a superpower, what would it be and why? And it doesn't have to be startup related. It can just be.
At the moment, I would say a portable personal air conditioning system.
I know I could open my door in this phone booth as well.
Just the ability to put ice around. I think probably everybody doing this is wanting that. But yeah, I don't know.
I'd be a super taster to taste more things. Yeah.
Cool.
There's a chance I'm already a super taster. I only recently found out that people who are bitter sensitive can taste more scope to all of the flavors, but particularly to bitterness.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a cool superpower, to be able to taste a dish and instantly know what are all the ingredient makeup, so that I can go, oh, I know how to recreate that.
I don't know if I want that superpower with my cooking normally. I like being a little bit more.
I must say, one thing that's a bit bad about being, I suppose, a super taster is that I can often taste rancid oil. And so if you ever have, go to a fish and chip shop and the chips are a bit funny, it's usually because the oil's old. And straight away I'm like, oh no, can't eat it. It's
great power
nasty.
comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
For everyone. Gosh. Sorry. And so
what's your answer? What's your superpower?
To be honest, I'm still working on that. I think I would like a little bit of I'm very much a just get in and try everything kind of person. So I'm like, for 5 minutes I'd want to fly. For 5 minutes I'd want to, time travel. For 5 minutes, speed. For 5, attention is very, very short-lived.
I think you need a teleporter. You do so much traveling.
Yeah, or immune to jet lag. That would save me some time, that's for sure. Or not having to put up with hangovers after like-minded bitches events.
That's a superpower.
I actually don't get hangovers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never spewed from alcohol either.
You're insane.
We're going to change that.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. So if people would like to support you, where can they go to sign up to the site, download the app? What do they need to do?
So our website's Gathar, Gathar, not ER, so gathar.com or .com.au. We've got both. So you can jump on there. Obviously, all our socials is Gathering, so Gatharing. Yeah, it'd be great to have your support on Instagram or Facebook. And if you know of anyone that loves to cook, we're expanding. So if anybody out there is a foodie and thinks this is for them, or they know people that are, we'd love them to spread the word and join our community.
You should check out Collabosaurus. They're a marketplace for obviously collaborations, hence the name. But for either finding chefs or for businesses or cool experiences, it could be something worth speaking to them too as well. But I'll introduce you after.
Collabosaurus. Yeah.
That's awesome. But anyway, thank you so much for your time today, ladies. I'm just